Every morning, millions of people all over the world repeat the same routine without thinking too much about it. They open their eyes, sit up in bed, and start the day. But according to several neurologists, there's a very common mistake that could be tripling the risk of suffering a stroke, especially after the age of 60. It is such a simple mistake that most people do not even realize they are making it until it is too late. Strokes are one of the leading causes of death and disability in older adults. After 60, the chances of having one shoot up. However, the most alarming thing is that most of these events happen in the very first hours of the morning, just when we think we are starting the day in a normal and peaceful way. Let me tell you the story of Ernest. He was 72 years old, in good health, and every morning he had the same habit, jumping out of bed, turning on the television to watch the news, and immediately starting to make coffee. One morning, his wife heard a thud in the kitchen and found him lying on the floor, unable to speak. The doctors confirmed that he had suffered a massive stroke. That was when she discovered that the way he got up every day might have contributed to that event. What I want to share with you today is not meant to scare you, but to open your eyes. We are going to talk about that morning mistake that multiplies the risk of a stroke and about other morning habits that put your health in danger without you noticing. And most importantly, I will show you simple ways to protect your brain and reduce that risk effectively. So stay with me until the end of this video. This information can be the difference between living many more years in good health or facing a situation that changes your life forever. Before we begin, I would love to get to know you a little better. Tell me in the comments how old you are and where you are watching me from. Knowing who receives this message is very important to me. Why mornings are the time of greatest risk. When we open our eyes in the morning, we are not only waking up our mind. The whole body begins a transition process. The heart beats a little faster, blood pressure starts to rise to get us moving, and the brain receives a sudden increase in blood flow. For most young people, this is not a problem, but after the age of 60, the body no longer regulates these changes with the same precision. Neurologists explain that at daybreak, our body experiences what they call the morning blood pressure surge. While we sleep, pressure stays lower to allow the blood vessels to rest. But when we wake up, the body releases hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline that raise blood pressure to prepare us for the day. This sudden increase can be dangerous if the arteries are hardened by age or if there are cholesterol plaques that can break loose. That is why so many strokes occur in the first hours of the day. Medical studies have shown that the risk of a cerebrovascular accident is highest between 6 in the morning and noon. In older people, this risk is multiplied by 2 or even by 3 if there is uncontrolled hypertension, diabetes, or a family history. It is in those early hours that a small clot can block the blood flow to the brain and cause irreversible damage. Imagine your circulatory system as a network of pipes that has been working for decades. After a night of rest, the water flow is low and the walls are calm. But suddenly, you open the faucet all the way. If there are weak spots, that is where leaks or blockages will occur. That is what happens in the body. A sudden change in pressure can be the trigger for a stroke. In addition, the blood is usually a little thicker because of nighttime dehydration. For 6, 7, or 8 hours of sleep, we have not drunk water, and the body has lost fluids through breathing and perspiration. This greater viscosity makes it easier for clots to form that can travel to the brain. Knowing this information is vital because it gives us a chance to act. If we know that mornings are the time of greatest risk, we can change small habits to reduce that danger. Something as simple as getting up slowly, drinking water as soon as you wake up, and taking a few minutes for the pressure to stabilize can make a big difference. From now on, I want you to think of your mornings as a delicate zone. It is not a time to rush or to have unnecessary shocks. It is the time to give your body the time it needs to start up safely. If you do that, you will be protecting your brain and increasing your chances of living in good health for many more years. The most dangerous morning mistake. It is time to talk about the mistake that millions of people make every morning without realizing it. Getting out of bed abruptly, standing up immediately, and starting the day without giving the body time to adapt or drinking a single sip of water. It seems harmless, but for a brain and a circulatory system over 60 years old, it can be a dangerous trigger. Picture the scene. Charles, 68 years old, had always been an active man. Every morning he would jump out of bed as soon as the alarm went off. One ordinary day, he got up suddenly and felt the room spin. He tried to walk to the bathroom, but his legs did not respond and he ended up on the floor. Luckily, his wife heard him and called emergency services. The doctors told him he had suffered a drop in orthostatic blood pressure followed by a mini stroke. What happened to Charles is more common than you think. During the night, blood pressure drops to allow the body to rest. When we get up too quickly, the blood takes a few seconds to reach the brain. In young people, the body compensates immediately, but after a certain age, this compensation is slower. The result can be intense dizziness, temporary loss of vision, or even fainting. In some cases, that sudden change can make it easier for a clot to move and block an artery in the brain. Besides getting up abruptly, many people go straight to making coffee without hydrating first. Nighttime dehydration makes the blood denser. If you do not drink water upon waking, the risk of small clots forming is higher. Together with the sudden rise in pressure, you create the perfect scenario for a stroke. That is why the first practical tip is simple but powerful. Change the way you start your day. Before sitting up, stay a moment in bed. Move your feet in circles, stretch your legs, breathe deeply, and sit up slowly. Remain seated for a few seconds until you feel that any dizziness disappears. Then stand up slowly, holding on if necessary. As soon as you are standing, drink a glass of water. It does not have to be cold. What matters is rehydrating the body and helping the blood regain its normal fluidity. Only after doing this is it advisable to start any other activity, preparing breakfast, reading the newspaper, or going out for a walk. These small adjustments may seem insignificant, but they make a big difference. Getting up slowly, hydrating, and giving the body time to adapt reduces the risk of falls, dizziness, and most importantly, of a serious event such as a stroke occurring at the start of the day. The importance of hydrating upon waking. During the night, the body enters a state of deep rest. We do not drink water for several hours, and without realizing it, we lose fluid through breathing and perspiration. Even if we do not wake up sweaty, that loss is enough for the blood to become slightly thicker. The denser the blood, the more effort the heart has to make to pump it, and the greater the risk that small clots will form. These clots can travel through the circulatory system and, if they lodge in an artery in the brain, cause a stroke. Neurologists explain that this morning, hyperviscosity is one of the factors that increases the likelihood of cerebrovascular events. After the age of 60, this risk is even higher because the elasticity of the arteries decreases and the circulatory system responds more slowly. If we add habits such as drinking coffee on an empty stomach or rushing out without hydrating, the scenario becomes more dangerous. Let me tell you the story of Martha, a 75-year-old woman who used to wake up with a headache almost every day. She thought it was a normal part of aging until her doctor suggested something very simple: drinking a large glass of water as soon as she opened her eyes. After a few days, the morning headaches disappeared. Martha told me she felt more energetic and less dizzy when getting up. Something as simple as hydrating changed the way she started her day. Drinking water upon waking has an immediate effect. It rehydrates the cells, helps the blood regain its normal fluidity, and activates the digestive system. It also helps the kidneys eliminate toxins that accumulated during the night. It is not necessary to drink large amounts. 1 glass of water is enough to begin. If you like, you can leave it ready on your bedside table to drink it even before getting out of bed. It is important to clarify that coffee or tea does not replace water at this first moment of the day. Both have mild diuretic effects, which can increase fluid loss if they are consumed on an empty stomach and without prior hydration. That is why specialists are clear. First a glass of water and then your coffee, tea, or usual breakfast. This small gesture, which takes no more than a minute, can significantly reduce the risk of strokes and other circulatory problems. Just as brushing your teeth is an automatic habit, drinking water upon waking should become a daily custom to take care of your brain and your heart. The breakfast that increases or reduces risk. The first meal of the day is more important than we think, especially when we are talking about brain health and stroke prevention. The kind of breakfast you choose can help keep your blood pressure in balance, or, on the contrary, push it to dangerous levels. Many older adults make the mistake of eating processed meats such as sausages, bacon, or ham every day for breakfast. These foods are rich in sodium and saturated fats, two factors that raise blood pressure and harden the arteries over time. A breakfast loaded with salt can cause a pressure spike precisely during the hours when the body is most vulnerable, increasing the risk that a cholesterol plaque will break loose and block a cerebral artery. Another common mistake is skipping breakfast altogether. After hours of nighttime fasting, the brain needs energy to function properly. When we do not eat breakfast, the body releases more stress hormones such as cortisol, which can raise pressure even more. In addition, prolonged fasting can cause dizziness, instability, and falls, especially in people who take medication for blood pressure or glucose. The good news is that breakfast can also be a powerful ally. Neurologists and nutritionists recommend including foods that promote circulation and reduce inflammation. Oatmeal is one of the best examples. It is rich in soluble fiber, helps control cholesterol, and keeps blood sugar levels stable. Fruit is another essential component, especially those high in potassium such as banana, orange, or kiwi. Potassium helps counteract the effects of sodium and keeps blood pressure within healthy ranges. A handful of nuts, such as almonds or walnuts, provides healthy fats that protect the cardiovascular system as long as they are eaten in moderate amounts. A heart-protective breakfast could look like this: a bowl of oatmeal with fresh fruit, a small handful of walnuts, and a glass of water or unsweetened tea. It is a simple, affordable, and extremely beneficial combination for keeping the brain in optimal condition. Turning this type of breakfast into a habit can considerably reduce the likelihood of suffering strokes in the long term. Medications and their timing. We cannot talk about prevention without mentioning the importance of medication. Many people over 60 take pills to control blood pressure, cholesterol, or to prevent clot formation. Taking them at the right time can make the difference between keeping risk under control or facing an emergency. The story of Rose is a clear example. She had had hypertension for years, but sometimes forgot to take her morning pill. Some days she would take it after breakfast, and others she would forget it altogether. One morning, after several missed doses, she suffered a very high blood pressure episode and ended up in the hospital. The doctor was clear. The lack of regularity with her medication was one of the factors that triggered the crisis. The body needs a constant supply of these drugs to keep pressure and clotting levels stable. Skipping a dose or taking it too late can allow pressure to rise dangerously just at the time when it is most vulnerable, the first hours of the morning. That is why specialists recommend turning medication into a ritual. You can leave your pills in a weekly pill box next to your morning glass of water. That way, the simple act of hydrating upon waking will remind you that it is time to take your medicine. Another option is to set an alarm on your phone to ring at the same time every day. Talking with your doctor is essential to confirm the best schedule according to the type of medication. Some pills work better if taken at night, others in the morning. What matters is not improvising and keeping a consistent routine. This small habit can prevent pressure spikes and significantly reduce the risk of a stroke. Morning stress and its impact. As soon as we open our eyes, the body already comes with the accelerator pressed. During the first hours of the day, the body naturally releases cortisol, a hormone that helps us activate our energy, slightly raise blood pressure, and get going. That increase is physiological and expected, but if on top of that we add worries, alarming news, arguments, or urgent tasks, we turn a normal rise into an unnecessary spike. The result can be a heart that beats too fast, pressure that shoots up, and a brain exposed to greater risk right at daybreak. Claudia, a little over 60 years old, had a habit she considered harmless. She woke up and, still in bed, opened her phone to read headlines, check messages, and answer emails. She did it even before drinking water or sitting calmly. She noticed that she got up with palpitations, shortness of breath, and a knot in her stomach. One day, after a bad night, the predictable happened. She sat up abruptly, saw a distressing piece of news, argued over a message, and when she stood up, the dizziness was so intense that she ended up sitting on the floor with ringing in her ears and a headache that did not leave her all day. Her doctor was clear. The body already wakes up with high cortisol. If we add emotional tension and hurry, we push the system beyond its limit. Morning stress activates the sympathetic nervous system, narrows the blood vessels, and raises blood pressure. In older people, whose arteries are usually less elastic, those sudden changes are felt more intensely. That is why it is helpful to think of mornings as a slippery track. Any rush step increases the risk. The solution starts with a deliberate pause. Before exposing yourself to screens or problems, give yourself a brief, calm routine of between 3 and 5 minutes. Nothing sophisticated is needed. First, stay seated on the bed with your back straight and your feet on the floor. Place one hand on your abdomen and the other on your chest. Inhale through your nose, slowly counting to 4, feeling your abdomen rise. Hold gently for a moment. Exhale through your mouth, counting to 6, letting your shoulders drop. Repeat this cycle several times. Then, drink a glass of water and remain silent for a moment, observing your breathing. Add a gesture of care. Open the curtain, let natural light in, and avoid headlines in your first breaths of the day. If you need to check your phone, do it after that brief routine. It also helps to set a simple intention. Today I will walk calmly. Today I will eat mindfully. Today I will do one important thing without rushing. This phrase acts as an anchor against the whirlwind of stimuli. If you live with someone, you can agree that difficult conversations will not take place in the first minutes of the day. Choose a more stable time when the body is already in motion and the mind is clear. And if you wake up with anxious thoughts, write them down on a sheet of paper and leave it on the table to deal with later. The simple act of taking them out of your head reduces tension. Make this idea your golden rule. First the body, then the mind, then the world. Breathe, hydrate, move slowly. Only after that open the door to news, messages, and decisions. This small discipline turns down the volume of morning stress and gives your brain the environment it needs to function protected. Safe versus risky. Morning exercise. Moving your body in the morning is a great idea, but not every kind of movement is equally wise. After nighttime rest, blood pressure tends to rise and tissues are stiffer. If we add intense effort on an empty stomach, the heart works harder, a pressure spike can appear, and the residual dehydration from sleep becomes noticeable. That is why jumping straight into explosive exercises, hard runs, or heavy lifting right after waking is not the smartest choice for those who are already over 60. The key is to prepare the body with gentle mobility and to activate circulation without shocks. Imagine a warm-up that wakes up the joints, lubricates the muscles, and gives the cardiovascular system time to find its rhythm. That warm-up is, in itself, a brain protection strategy. Start still seated on the bed or in a stable chair. Place both feet on the floor and feel the contact with the ground. Practice diaphragmatic breathing, as in the previous section. Calm inhalations, long exhalations. Then move your ankles by drawing circles, first in one direction and then in the other, to activate venous return from the legs. Continue with gentle shoulder shrugs toward your ears and slow descents. Then roll your shoulders back, as if you were opening your chest. Keep your jaw relaxed. Continue with gentle neck mobility. Look to the right and to the left as if you were saying no without forcing. Then lower your chin toward your chest and return to center. Avoid abrupt head movements. Move on to the spine. With your hands on your legs, make small torso rotations to each side as if soft spirals were traveling along your back. Then lean slightly forward from the hips and sit back up to wake up the lower back and hamstring muscles. When you feel ready, stand up slowly. Place your feet hip-width apart and do a few heel raises, going up and down with control to activate your calves and improve circulation. Add gentle arm swings as if you were walking in place. If you feel stable, do small, shallow squats, just a few centimeters, making sure your knees face forward and you do not lose your balance. Finish with a quiet walk around the house for a few minutes, paying attention to your posture. Crown toward the sky, relaxed shoulders, silent steps. This short sequence takes very little time and has 3 goals. It wakes up the nervous system calmly, mobilizes joints to reduce stiffness, and helps pressure stabilize before you ask more of your heart. Later, if you want to do moderate exercise, a walk outdoors is an excellent option. Natural light helps regulate internal rhythms, and the walking rhythm promotes brain circulation. Keep a conversational pace. If you cannot talk comfortably, you are going too fast. Which movements should you avoid upon waking? Maximum efforts while cold, repeated jumps, very heavy lifting, high-intensity challenges, and prolonged inverted postures. If any of these are part of your routine, schedule them later in the day when you have already eaten, hydrated, and warmed up gradually. Remember to listen to your signals. If dizziness, blurred vision, unusual headache, sudden weakness, or strange tingling appears, stop and sit down. Breathe, hydrate, and wait for your body to regain its balance. The goal is not to break records at dawn. It is to give your brain a safe start so the day can be built on a stable foundation. The warning signs you must not ignore. When it comes to a stroke, time is everything. Recognizing the first signs and acting quickly can save not only a person's life, but also their ability to speak, move, and be independent. Every minute counts, because the longer the brain goes without enough blood, the greater the damage. Some of the most common symptoms are easy to detect if you know what to look for. The first is a sudden, intense headache, different from any other you have had before. Many people describe it as the worst pain of their life, or as if something had exploded in their head. Another frequent sign is blurred vision or sudden loss of vision in one or both eyes. There may also be difficulty speaking, either because the words come out slurred or because no words can be produced at all. Numbness on one side of the body, especially in the face, arm, or leg, is a very characteristic sign. It can be accompanied by muscle weakness, the arm does not respond, or the mouth droops. The simplest way to remember what to do is to apply the method many doctors recommend: smile, raise, speak. First, ask the person to smile. If one side of the face does not move or droops, it is a warning sign. Then ask them to raise both arms. If one arm falls or cannot be held up, there is cause for concern. Finally, ask them to repeat a simple sentence. If the words sound strange or they cannot say them, seek help immediately. If you detect any of these signs, do not wait to see if it goes away on its own. Call emergency services without wasting time. The sooner medical care is received, the greater the chances of recovery and the fewer the after effects. Acting within the first hour can mean the difference between walking again or being bedridden. Even if the symptoms last only a few minutes and then disappear, go to the hospital. That may have been a transient ischemic attack, a kind of mini-stroke that is a warning that a major event could occur in the next hours or days. Recognizing these signs and not ignoring them is one of the most important steps to protect your brain health. Long-term habits that protect your brain. Beyond first aid and what we do every morning, true stroke prevention is built day by day with habits that are maintained over time. Diet is one of the most important pillars. Following a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins helps keep arteries clean and flexible. Reducing salt, sugar, and saturated fat intake lowers blood pressure and cholesterol, two of the main risk factors. Weight control is also essential. Excess body fat forces the heart to work harder and can promote insulin resistance, increasing the risk of diabetes, which is another factor related to strokes. Maintaining a healthy weight through a balanced diet and moderate physical activity is one of the best health investments you can make. Another key piece is regular physical activity. This is not about intense training, but about moving every day, walking, dancing, doing mobility exercises, or even doing household chores that keep the body active. Regular activity improves circulation, strengthens the heart, and helps keep blood pressure stable. Let me tell you the story of George, a 69-year-old man who had slightly high blood pressure and elevated cholesterol. His doctor suggested simple changes: walking 30 minutes every day, eating more vegetables, and drinking enough water. After 6 months, his blood pressure was under control, he had lost some weight, and he felt more energetic than he had in years. Most importantly, he had significantly reduced his risk of having a stroke, a according to follow-up tests. Regular medical checkups are another habit that should not be missing. Checking blood pressure at home, monitoring cholesterol and glucose levels, and going to recommended visits allow problems to be detected before they become serious. Many people discover they have hypertension only after a dangerous event when it could have been prevented with routine measurements. Prevention is not a single act, but a constant process. Every glass of water, every healthy food choice, every walk counts. It is not about seeking perfection, but about making small daily decisions that add up in favor of your brain. The results are not always immediate, but in the long term, they can mean years of life with independence and quality. What you should talk about with your doctor. One of the most important steps to reduce the risk of stroke is to maintain open and regular communication with your doctor. Sometimes during an appointment, we limit ourselves to listening to what we are told, but it is essential to go prepared with clear questions. That way, the visit becomes a prevention tool and not just a reaction to problems. Here are some questions you can take to your next appointment. What is the ideal blood pressure for my age and condition? What lifestyle changes can help me keep it in that range? Is my current medication the most appropriate, or do I need adjustments? How often should I have my cholesterol and glucose tested? Should I take any supplement to improve the health of my arteries or my brain? What warning signs should I watch for at home, and when should I go to the hospital immediately? It is also a good idea to ask to be taught how to measure your blood pressure correctly. Having a blood pressure monitor at home and writing down the results in a notebook or mobile app can be very useful. This allows patterns to be detected. If every morning the pressure appears very high, the doctor can adjust the treatment before a serious event occurs. Remember that you are the main character in your health story. The doctor is an ally, but daily decisions depend on you. Asking questions is not bothering, it is taking care of yourself. If you do not understand something, ask for it to be explained again. If you feel side effects from medication, mention them so alternatives can be found. Empowering yourself means taking control of what is in your hands. Hydrating, eating a balanced diet, moving, resting well, monitoring your pressure, and attending regular checkups. Each of these actions is an investment in your future independence. Brain health is not protected by luck alone, but by conscious choices every day. Today we have talked about a topic that can save lives, the morning mistake that triples the risk of stroke, and the habits that can reduce that danger significantly. We have seen that the problem is not just getting up abruptly, it is a whole combination of factors: dehydration, unhealthy breakfasts, stress, lack of safe exercise, and forgetting medication. Each of these elements can add up to create a critical moment precisely in the first hours of the day. But we also saw that the solutions are simple and within anyone's reach. Getting up slowly, drinking water as soon as you wake up, choosing a heart-friendly breakfast, doing a few minutes of breathing or gentle stretching, keeping your medication on schedule, and going to the doctor with clear questions. These are small changes that, together, build a protective shield around the brain. This is not about living in fear, but about living with knowledge. Understanding what happens in the body and how we can help it gives us the power to decide. That is the true purpose of this message, that you do not wait for an emergency to take action. If you found this content useful, share it with family members and friends over 60. This video may be the warning they need to change a habit and avoid a bigger problem. Leave me a comment telling me how old you are, where you are watching from, and which of these tips you are going to put into practice tomorrow morning. Remember that every day is an opportunity to take care of your health. Choose to start your mornings with calm, with awareness, and with respect for your body. In doing so, you will be giving your brain the best chance to keep working for many more years, allowing you to enjoy the life that still lies ahead of you.